आज हमारे साथ जो हस्ती जो हस्ताक्षर के रूप में है, वो नाम से ही आपको आकर्षक लग रहे होंगे, प्रोफेसर मरमर मुखोपाध्याय सर। आप शैक्षिक प्रबंधन के पर्याय हैं। आप प्रबंधन शिक्षा में एक हस्ताक्षर के रूप में जाने जाते हैं। आप एक प्रतिष्ठित विद्वान एवं सुप्रसिद्ध लेखक हैं। आपका नाम सुनकर मन करता है कि आपसे मिला जाए, मिल ना पाए तो आपसे बात की जाए, बात ना कर पाए तो आपको सुना जाए, सुन ना पाए तो आपको पढ़ा जाए। तो किसी न किसी रूप में आपसे हर कोई जुड़ना चाहता है, और आज हम धन्य हैं कि आप प्रत्यक्ष रूप में हम आपको सुन पाएंगे। इसके लिए मैं शिक्षण अधिगम केंद्र की अध्यक्षा आदरणीय अमीरा पांडे भारद्वाज जी का के प्रति कृतज्ञता व्यक्त करता हूं कि आप शिक्षा जगत के विशेषज्ञ एवं प्रसिद्ध प्रशिक्षकों को आमंत्रित कर कौशलों को विकसित करने में निरंतर प्रयासरत रहती हैं। उसके लिए मैं आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूं। प्रोफेसर मरमर उपाध्याय जी, एक कुशल प्रशासक के रूप में आपने निर्देशक के रूप में नीपा को अपना मार्गदर्शन, अपना नेतृत्व प्रदान किया है। नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग को भी आपने अपना मार्गदर्शन चेयरपर्सन के रूप में प्रदान किया है। आप शोधकृत पुस्तकें लिखने में सिद्धहस्त हैं, और इस कार्य को करने में आपने लगभग 22 पुस्तकें विद रिसर्च यानी शोध के साथ आपने शुद्ध करके 22 पुस्तकें शिक्षा जगत को मार्गदर्शन हेतु प्रदान की हैं। साथ ही साथ 250 से अधिक चैप्टर आपने विभिन्न पुस्तकों में और विभिन्न शोध ग्रंथों में प्रदान किए हैं। और साथ ही साथ आपकी शिक्षा जगत में जो भी एजुकेशन मैनेजमेंट को जानता है सर, वो आपका नाम अवश्य सुन चुका है। और आपने ही हिंदी की पुस्तकों को जो है, एजुकेशन मैनेजमेंट की पुस्तक जो है आपकी संपूर्ण गुणवत्ता प्रबंधन, वो सुप्रसिद्ध पुस्तक रही है और वो कई भाषाओं में अनुदित हो चुकी है, और साथ ही साथ गूगल की बेस्ट सेलर लिस्ट में भी वो काफी समय तक रही है। तो आपकी प्रतिष्ठा के बारे में सर कितना कहा जाए उतना कम है। मैं पुनः आपका हार्दिक स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन वंदन करता हूं, आपको प्रणाम करता हूं, और अपने शिक्षण अधिगम केंद्र की ओर से आपका पुनः हार्दिक स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं, और आपसे निवेदन करता हूं कि आपकी ज्ञान जलधि से कुछ बूंदें हम पर बरसाएं, हम भी सुने आपको और हम भी कृतकृत हो जाएं। आदरणीय प्रोफेसर मरमर उपाध्याय जी।
Thank you, Amita, for inviting, and thank you, Dr. Jitendra Kumar, for introduction. I'm happy to be here with you. This is what is written in the National Education Policy or New Education Policy 2020. Sanskrit will be taught in ways that are interesting and experiential as well as contemporary relevant, including through the use of Sanskrit knowledge systems and in particular through phonetics and pronunciation. Sanskrit textbooks at the foundational and middle school level in simple standard Sanskrit, etc. You can read it. Now my question is, if this is the policy, how are you going to implement it? What will be the steps of implementing, or how would you implement this policy?
In primary level and the secondary level, first of all, primary level में जैसे मातृभाषा का प्रयोग करते हैं, वैसे ही संस्कृत भाषा का प्रयोग करना चाहिए, शुरू करना चाहिए पूरा देश में। इसलिए जहां पर अध्यापक काम करते हैं, वहां मातृभाषा के साथ संस्कृत भाषा का भी परिचय देने के लिए कोशिश करना है।
Remember, policy has already been stated by the government. Your job is to tell me how would you implement the policy. क्या करना चाहिए सरकार ने बता दिया, हम एग्री करें ना करें हमको मानना पड़ेगा। अब सवाल है, सरकार ने जो बता दिया एज ए पॉलिसी, ये हम लोग कैसे करके दिखाएं कि दिस इज व्हाट, हाउ डू वी गेट द रिजल्ट?
सर मैं कुछ बोल सकता हूं?
हाँ प्लीज प्लीज।
जी सर। सर सबसे पहले बात तो ये है कि यदि हमें संस्कृत सिखानी है तो बच्चे ऑलरेडी जितना भी अध्ययन कर चुके हैं, उसके बाद यदि हमें सिखाना है तो सिंपल स्टैंडर्ड अपनाना पड़ेगा, जिससे कि वो हमारी बात को समझ सकें। संस्कृत से संस्कृत तो समझा ही नहीं जा सकता है, इसीलिए सिंपल स्टैंडर्ड जो है ना सर, उसी को अपनाने से इजीली हम सब बच्चों को सिखा सकते हैं। और विशेषकर जो दक्षिण भारत की भाषाएं हैं, उनकी लिपि है वो ऑलमोस्ट संस्कृत में जैसे बोला जाता है वैसे ही हिंदी में जिस तरह से लिख सकते हैं, उससे भी अच्छी तरह शुद्ध रूप में हम दक्षिण की भाषाओं में लिख सकते हैं सर। किंतु हम जब इंग्लिश के थ्रू जाते हैं सर, इंग्लिश और संस्कृत जब जोड़ते हैं तब थोड़ी बहुत प्रॉब्लम होती है सर। इसीलिए मातृभाषा के साथ संस्कृत को जोड़ने पे बहुत आसानी से हम सिखा सकते हैं। कम से कम पढ़ना, जब पढ़ना आ जाएगा और फिर सिंपल स्टैंडर्ड के माध्यम से हम पढ़ा सकते हैं सर। बाकी आप जैसे बताएंगे सर, समझाएंगे तो अच्छा लगेगा हमें।
All right, let me make the job a little simpler, because I think, for example, when you organize the marriage of your sister or daughter at home, what all do you think of? क्या क्या करना पड़ता है? ये तो आसान काम है ना?
जी जी, कर्मकांड के सारे उन क्रियाकलापों को करने पड़ते हैं जिनका विधान किया गया है। तो उसमें जैसे
celebrating the marriage,
celebrating and also we have to utter whatever, जो भी पंडित जी हमारे साथ बोलते हैं कि आप संकल्प का पाठ कीजिए। बहुत से लोगों को शायद हो सकता है बिल्कुल नहीं पता है, किंतु उच्चारण करते चले जाएं।
That is the one which the Pandit ji and all those things. What else is involved in marriage of a girl?
मंत्र
वो तो नहीं होगा ना?
जी जी।
What else? Maybe Amita can help because she is much more mature.
Sir, namaskar. First of all, we have to prepare.
पहले सब प्लानिंग करनी पड़ेगी।
What are the components?
Planning, organizing, and then leading and controlling. कोई भी अगर हम प्रोग्राम करते हैं तो फर्स्ट स्टेप कि हम उसकी प्लानिंग करते हैं, जो भी प्रोग्राम हो तो उस प्लानिंग में क्या क्या चीजें, उससे उसका जो ऑब्जेक्टिव्स है उसको लेकर, उसका जो गोल है उस प्रोग्राम का, उसको लेकर हम सारी एक्टिविटीज को और जो भी हमारे पास जो रिसोर्सेज है उन सब का जो है एक प्लानिंग की जाएगी और अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्लानिंग उसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया जाएगा, ऑर्गेनाइज की जाएंगी एक्टिविटीज। और जब वह ऑर्गेनाइज हो रही हैं तो हाउ यू विल, मतलब उसमें जो भी लोग हैं उनको मोटिवेट करना और वो सारी चीजें देखना, तो उसमें वो लीडिंग वाले में जाएंगे। और फिर लास्ट की जो भी चीजें हो रही हैं वो अकॉर्डिंग जो हमने सोचा था उसके अकॉर्डिंगली फीडबैक एंड फॉलो, वो लास्ट में है कंट्रोलिंग।
Alright, if you watch carefully, these are all available at your home, but you have never carefully looked at it. First thing is, अगर आपकी बेटी या आपकी बहन की शादी हो रही है, आपको एक लड़का ढूंढना पड़ेगा। जब ढूंढते हैं तो देखते हैं फैमिली कॉम्पैटिबिलिटी देखते हैं। उसने ढूंढ लिया तो अच्छी बात है, दैट इज व्हाट दी आजकल के बच्चे आसान कर दिया कि बाप माँ को ढूंढना नहीं पड़ता है। देन यू हैव टू थिंक व्हाट आर द डेट्स, यू हैव टू थिंक whom you are going to invite, what are you going to feed, how is the actual marriage be done, where fere and all that. So whole question is, any event first needs to be deconstructed into smaller components. That's the beginning of management. Unless you deconstruct, let's say for example, what you find difficult when I ask you to do this, it is because we need to deconstruct this statement. Let us see how many components. Sanskrit will be taught in the ways that are interesting and experiential. That is the first component. As well as contemporary. Sanskrit knowledge system बनाना पड़ेगा। वो भी phonetics और pronunciation से। Sanskrit textbook at the foundational middle school level. Another thing. Standard Sanskrit to teach Sanskrit. So the moment you break it down, you'll find 4 or 5 components, and then so the moment you talk of management, the first important thing is, are you able to deconstruct it? Can you see it? Let us go to the next one. Are you able to see it? Okay. Many people have been talking about application of business management principles in education is educational management. You will find during this next about an hour or whatever, I may not agree with many of these things based on my research and experience. How good is the idea? Firstly, business is for profit making, exploitative, hierarchic, and competitive. Remember, one of the basic principles of economics is nobody can be richer unless some more people have been made poorer. This is called Pareto principle. 20% people are richer in the world and the country because 80% people are poor. This is a direct economic relationship. So whole question is business interest in profit making, exploitation, hierarchic. When this pandemic came, you'll be surprised what happened in the private organizations, business organizations. They removed the lower order people and marginally increased the salary of the seniors. But seniors had to consume or subsume the juniors' work. It's competitive. Whether Tata or Adani or Mukesh Ambani or XYZ, they're always all the time a competition. If you look at our scenario where we are, more you give, more you gain. Now, when I share my views, I'm not losing at all. I'm not becoming poorer, but because your interaction, I'll be also gaining and you'll be also. It's non-exploitative. It is flat, collegial. To give you an example, Professor Pandey, Amita's father, and Amita, both are my colleagues. I mean, imagine the age difference and age difference, but education does not have hierarchy and is cooperative. So this is where I have my own confusion, and I believe this is not true. But most of the textbooks will write application of business management principle in education, education management. I completely disagree. We need to construct a theory of education management. This is not done. And also importantly, most of you would be knowing, because you're very competent people, that most of the business management principles have been developed in the Western world. And when you import it to education, we are missing two things. One is that a non-applicable business management principle is being imported to education, and the Western culture, which is not Indian culture, and there are enough research to say the cultural embeddedness of education and education management. There's a beautiful book called Geography of Thought by Richard Nisbet. His own research shows that Asian children think differently than the Western children. Imagine a child in our country, they grow up with the parents, they sleep with the parents till 8, 9, 10 years. The first time know, whereas a child, my own friend in UK and USA, their child sleeps separately by the time they are 6-month-old or 7-month-old, but there is a video camera to see that the child is safe. So imagine a concept called my bedroom appears for a Western child by 6, 7, 8 months. And for us, this concept comes only after we get married. This relationship between the parents, between the siblings, between the community of Indian situation is dramatically different from the Western situation. And I, coming from a village, I can tell you, in the village, it is still more intense, the relationship compared to urban areas. So my first important idea is to develop a construct for theory of education management. And whatever research I have done, I did one very massive research on management of change, the Indian culture. Indian institutions that grow well differently than the institutions in OECD countries, which you'll find in the organizational climate research. Western world talks about open climate. In India, it's the paternalistic or familial climate which makes institutions great. where the head of the institution behaves like a father or a mother. And this is perfectly explainable in terms of our cultural setting. For me, management is making things happen as desired. जैसे हम करना चाहते हैं, when you are able to do that, that is we'll call management. What are those things? Firstly, it should be smoothly. For example, when you look at, when you say, oh, उनके घर में बहुत अच्छे से शादी हो गया. One of the things comes that कोई conflict नहीं था. Similarly, you go to a school, you go to a college, where you find there is no conflict. There is a good relationship, etc. That's smoothly, that things happening. Things are happening on time. To pre-specified quality at optimal cost. Now, point I'm making is making things happen is not enough. जैसे आप लोगों के आज के तो जमाने में आप लोगों का क्या बोलते हो जो स्कोर मिलता है प्रमोशन के लिए CAS में हमारे जमाने में था नहीं इसलिए I don't know.
API score.
Okay, API score. For example, in that you need to publish. जब publish करेंगे तो हर publication में तो आएगा नहीं आपका number. जैसे for example, if you publish in a journal that you edit, actually you get 0. When you publish in some other, then it starts moving. Like all my books will have much more value if I was in your job for API than my publication. Similarly, unless you submit on time, you don't get the value and the optimal cost. So management is when you make things happen as desired, smoothly, on time, to pre-specified quality and at optimal cost, and then involve all stakeholders. This one I kept last because this is where the leadership comes, which is beyond management. And please feel free to interrupt or intervene whenever you feel like talking rather than waiting for my end. Would you like to say anything on this?
As per your definition, all the main points are covered in the educational management in the context of the school. Because all things are involved. For example, you have written that school will be run smoothly, school or institution smoothly run करना चाहिए. All the work will be on time. That is also covered in the definition. और quality education भी आपने इसमें cover किया है. और all stakeholders, students, teachers and management सबको आपने cover किया. तो as per my view,
आप लोग you can freely express in Hindi. I have no problem with Hindi, but my Hindi is little Bengali loaded.
सर आपके बिल्कुल सही है डेफिनेशन में लगभग सभी पॉइंट्स को कवर किया है.
Okay, so you agree with the definition?
Yes sir, I am agreeing.
All right. Anybody else who has a different view? Who is this sketch man? Atmaram. It's a beautiful sketch. Yes, Atmaram ji, can you hear you? I have given a definition of management.
Yeah.
You can define it yourself, or you can say whether you agree with me or what are the points how I can improve the definition.
Yeah. Management is managing the things.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like a whatever the resources available with us, we have to give the good, best result with the result we have with the resources we have, and to achieve the target.
Okay. Fine. Since you seem to be very hesitant in talking, I'll go back and make my presentation, whatever value
I joined
it is.
a little late, sir. Just now I joined.
All right. Let me first give you one. Normally, in my writings, I've been differentiating between administrator, manager, and leader. Administrators are basically the ones for whom rules and regulations are very important. And all rules and regulations have been framed in the past. So their reference point is past. Another group, they are bothered about activities and people. A school or a college or a university has certain activities to be carried out and by certain types of people. So their concentration is all the time, the activities are done by the people and they are happy. A reference point is present. Third group of people whose reference is imagination and vision. What will I do with this institution in 5 years or 10 years from now? A reference point is future. I have my story of National Open School. Is an award-winning book on leadership for 21st century learning. If you come across the book, you can read it. That when I took over, it was a school, complete school. Curriculum is there, teaching learning is there, and examination is there. I decided to lift it to the international level. So that was my focus, and I continuously worked on that one. Now, the first important point when you are managing, remember, if you look at the circle's meaning, every manager also has to administer. But the focus on administration becomes reduced. A pure administrator, this circle is the full circle for him or her. When you come to a manager, manager has a larger circle in which administration forms another circle. When somebody is a leader, that person, he or she, also have management and administration. But the circle is now larger. The future is subsuming the present and the past. And one of my typical experience has been over these years that if you follow all the rules and regulations, you can never build an institution. Because rules and regulations are not meant to build regulation, but to hold the institution at a particular place. To give you an example, there was a rule, I hope it is now changed, that laptops cannot be given to people below the joint secretary rank. Now, the question is, who are more comfortable with laptops or computers? Younger people or older people?
Definitely younger people, sir.
Younger people. I have seen in my ministry, MHRD, joint secretaries' laptops or computers are nicely covered because they did not have the skill. When you come to the universities, between professor, associate professor, assistant professor, who has better skill on technology?
Assistant professor, sir.
Exactly. Younger the person, higher. Now what happens is when I wanted to provide laptop to all faculty, there's a serious problem. They said, no, you cannot give it to below joint secretary. They say joint secretary cannot handle it, use it. Joint secretary level in academics is basically very senior professors. That means you cannot give it to the people who can handle it. So there comes the typology. Anybody who has built institution, that is, they have left a legacy, was actually in this level, he was a leader. The institution where you are now, Vachaspati Upadhyay was a leader. Amita's father, Professor K.P. Pandey, when he was in the university, Kashi Vidyapith or Himachal Pradesh, he built things. He went much beyond, but that does not mean he did not do what he needed to do on that day. But that was not the limitation. They crossed the boundaries. That's why they are often called institution builders. Now, when you look at this whole question, there are policies, planning, management, and evaluation, which Amita said earlier in the context of marriage of a daughter. Now, for example, we have got National Education Policy or New Education Policy 2020. This has to be converted into plan of implementation or program of action. Then once this is there, we need to manage. Once we manage, we need to evaluate, have we managed it properly? And then go back to policy. So that is how policy is reframed from time to time, 1968, then 86, and now it is very late 2020. Also, when you read educational management, you need to have a system perspective. It starts with a macro system, meso 1, meso 2, micro and mini micro. There is a policy or plan in the country level. NEP is there. This will lead to program of action, to centrally sponsored programs. This will all happen at the macro level. Then it comes to state level. The moment it comes to state level, it gets specified further. In my state, how would I implement? Then there is a district system. You have got the institution and you are the individual. Important point is, if you read carefully the NEP 2020 or any policy anywhere in the world, ultimate implementer is the teacher in the class. These are all preparatory phases. It comes to the institution and the individual. For example, when you talk of teaching Sanskrit, who teaches Sanskrit? Is a Sanskrit teacher an individual in a school or in a college or in a university? All these people only say what should be done, but actual implementation is done at this level. So it's extremely important. Unfortunately, in India, this is not there. But if you look at Victoria's experiment in Australia and in many other countries, nothing special, the schools are given complete autonomy. They should run the way it should be run. Because, for example, when you look at my village school where I studied and I taught many years ago, I cannot use the same techniques when I go to an urban top end school. They're different. Children's experience are different. Teachers' preparation is different. So there has to be institutional mechanism in developing, in implementing the policies. Coming back to another domain, that is when you look at parameters of education management, it's true for with the system as well as specifically the institute. These are the different domains: academic management, people management, infrastructure management, finance management, administration, student services, linkage, and leadership. Now, I was talking right in the beginning about the deconstructing a concept or a policy. This is extremely necessary for all of us to understand. The deconstruction is a necessary condition of all management. I have deconstructed education management into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 areas. You can find more. It is nothing sacrosanct because this is not coming from the Bhagavad Gita that you have to accept. This is how I have been able to see. Now, when you look at academic, you immediately see it itself contains large number of domains: curricular planning, teaching learning process, assessment of learning outcomes, co-scholastic activities, co-curricular activities, and you can further add. When you talk of teaching learning process, there are large number of instructional strategies. It can be lecture, it can be group work, it can be project, it can be multimedia. So the moment you start breaking up teaching learning process, the way you will teach science, that's not the way you will teach Sanskrit or English or geography or history. They change. Each one of them can be further broken down. For example, today we are talking about in curriculum, self-designed curriculum. Curriculum is not to be given by somebody else. Like, for example, with the online education, you have all the freedom. So a student may pick up a credit in music, another credit in tennis, another credit in geography, and so on and so forth. So he generates 32 credit required for a certificate and he goes to the university. I have got the 32 credits from MIT, from Harvard, from Oxford, from Calcutta University, from Sanskrit University, Lalwal. So please give me a degree. He's going to the future. Another person may learn to be, he takes continually physics. He takes a huge number, 32 credits on physics alone, and maybe from different universities. So the new order is going to change in terms of curriculum, teaching learning process, assessment of, but important point at the moment is you need to deconstruct every concept so that you can manage it properly. When you say curricular planning, how would you transact the curriculum? People will say curriculum is given. Yes, unfortunate it is that some central body thinks they know everything, which is really wrong. To me, every teacher should be empowered to create curriculum. So far as parity is concerned, it will depend upon the learning outcome. Let the students prove they have learned. Human resources, first you will see that there are how many human resources are there: student, teacher, non-academic staff, parents, alumni, community leader. You must be knowing that in the Western world is very common, but IITs extensively used alumni. Whereas we think our staff is student, teacher, and non-academic staff. No, parents are a big factor. Alumni is a very big factor. Community leaders is a big factor. And then when you go to this, there's recruitment, induction, professional development, performance assessment, incentives and encouragement, and you can add more. So when you say human resources teacher, it is not one. Teacher has to be recruited, so there is a process of management of recruitment. Unfortunately, again, today all recruitment has been centralized. To me, it is not a great thing. When we are starting our career, it was school-based selection. And I don't think schools have improved over these years because of centralization. Centralization has brought in many other things like politics, corruption, and all that. When a teacher is recruited, there is a need to induct. When I joined my school, after 3-4 days, I went to my headmaster, who was also my teacher when I was a student. I told this class is difficult for me. It was 12th science, and I was hardly 20, 19 plus. So the headmaster, because he knew me as a student, he says, "Dekho, subject to tumhare problem nahi hai. Problem maybe you are not able to manage the class." So then he told me that you observe, the students are not 30. They are actually groups of 5, and they sit always together. And he says, you took a look at the right side, second and third bench, that is your troublemakers. So you look at all the students in the class, but keep more vigil on this. And then you come back after 1 month. After 1 month, I told, "Sir, I don't need a change." Look at the subtle induction process. There was no training program for that. But there's an induction. He could imagine that maybe academically I have no problem, but my problem might be managing the students because they are also 18 and I am hardly 20. Professional development, performance assessment, incentives, encouragement. So again, when you do the human resource, you first deconstruct who are the human beings. I have deconstructed only two into 5, but then you have to deconstruct into students, deconstruct parents, alumni. The more you deconstruct and get to micro components, your management becomes easier. This is another infrastructure, civil work, classrooms, laboratories, library, etc. IT facilities are a necessary condition now for all infrastructure. When you as teacher may not face it, but yes, we have faced as an administrator or head of the institution, the question of construction, maintenance, beautification. These are all necessary activity, and you cannot say, "I'm an academician, so I cannot do it." Then your only job is to say, "Sir, I don't accept this job." The other thing that I have been able to identify, and I've written in my books, 3 important criteria of infrastructure is adequacy, functionality, and aesthetics. Is the class adequate? For example, in the Western world, you get 150 square feet per child. Here we get hardly 15 square feet per child. So child cannot move the hands. So it's essentially inadequate. You go to the toilets, you go to many things are not working. Taps are not functioning. Switchboard is not working. And then comes the question of aesthetics. Is it beautiful? Any one of us, we are very proud when we are able to maintain something beautifully, not only clean and functional, but also aesthetics. I've given an example of only 3 what you need to do is you need to further deconstruct finance, administration, student services, linkage, and all that. So my basic contention is more you deconstruct into micro components, more likely for you to be successful. I'll give one example and stop there. I went to the library of National Open School immediately after taking charge. And I found, as usual, for all school, because the word is school. So every book is in a almirah with a glass case, it is locked. Now, you will be able to appreciate as a higher education teacher, we the higher education teacher are never comfortable with books under lock and key. I went to the librarian, I said, can you get me this book? She said, I had my secretary with me, who was an old staff. So picks up the key from her drawer, comes with us, she opens the particular shelf, puts that cover up, takes out the book, puts the book on the armpit, then draws back the cover, locks it up, goes to the counter, takes the book out, and he says, sir, kiske naam pe do? So then secretary thought it is enough time. So he said, he is Professor Mukhopadhyay, the new chairman. Anyway, I took the book. First thing I told Mr. Pritpal Singh, who was my secretary of the NOS, I said, please, I give you 3 days and I want to see open self library. These are very small things, but these small things matter. I recruited a couple of young boys and girls as my lecturer equivalent, but they are called differently. So before they joined, I told the secretary, I want everyone to have a cubicle with a swing door and their names put on that. It was not the practice. They said, sir, I said, please, I come from university. I'll prefer this kind of dignified ways, not to put a large table where people sit down like a platform. Everyone should have a small cubicle with a door, and on the door it should be written, let us say somebody's name is Sandhya. That name must be written. And when they started joining, I told the secretary, I like to take each one of them to their room whenever they join. And I did that. These very small details, but I am sure you will understand, they will never forget that the chairman came and escorted them to their room and placed them in their rooms. Now, these are some of the things which are extremely important. I also experienced when I joined NIPA, absolutely enigmatic director, Professor Munish Raza. First thing he told me, Professor Mukhopadhyay, I'm very happy that you have joined, but Delhi is a very difficult place. Here you may not be able to find a good accommodation. Would you please mind accepting 2 rooms in the hostel with a small kitchenette? Believe me, it is an obligation being done to me. But the way he did, I don't forget even after 42 years, his decency and courtesy. And remember, Munish Raza is not an ordinary individual like me. He's an extraordinary scholar. Nothing where we could beat him. He speaks better than us, he read better than us, he wrote better than us. Even on mischief, he was better than us. Nowhere we can beat them. But look at his decency, courtesy. Now, this is management because he is sowing a seed in me so that I affiliate to the institute, and I believe this is a very good institute. This chote behavior makes a lot of difference, and that's leadership.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of our Teaching Learning Center, Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri, National Sanskrit University, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for for sharing, for gracing the occasion, as well as for sharing with us your opinion, views, findings, and examples with respect to educational management. And I extend my heartiest thank you to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.